When a woman you once loved suddenly returns after walking away, the first thing you need to understand is this: she's not coming back purely out of affection, nostalgia, or regret. She's coming back because she wants to see whether you've actually changed. In Corey Wayne's teaching, women test men constantly, not out of malice, but out of instinct. They're wired to gauge a man's emotional strength, his inner grounding, and his ability to stay centered no matter what happens. When she left, she likely felt that you weren't strong enough, stable enough, or confident enough. Maybe you were too reactive, too needy, or too emotionally dependent on her responses. Now that she returns, she's stepping back into your life with the sole intention of observing who you've become. Her return, in many ways, is a mirror being held up to your transformation. Every word she says, every question she asks, every gesture she makes, it all carries a deeper purpose. She's paying close attention to how you respond. Do you light up instantly, dropping everything to talk to her? Do you respond in a hurry, trying too hard? Or do you stay calm, collected, and centered? She wants to see whether you still crumble under her attention, or whether you've finally mastered the emotional independence that she wished you had before. The moment you appear overly excited or overly eager, she realizes that you're still the same version of yourself she left behind. You need to understand that this test is not about playing games. It's about her instinctively assessing your maturity and emotional grounding. In relationships, especially romantic ones, women don't respect men who they can emotionally destabilize. They don't admire a man who falls apart at the possibility of losing them, or who gets thrown off balance just because she reappeared. She wants to know, can you hold your frame this time? Can you remain calm even when she says something that used to trigger you? Can you stay confident even when she pulls away or hesitates? These small moments determine everything. When she comes back, she will test your composure. She might bring up old memories to see if you get emotional. She might mention dating someone else to check whether you lose your cool. She might delay replying to see if you chase. These are not conscious strategies. These are instinctive checks. A woman tests the man she's attracted to because she wants to know whether he's capable of leading, protecting, and providing emotional stability. If she senses weakness, she pulls back. If she senses strength, she opens up again. This is why many men fail the moment their ex returns. They believe that her message or call is a sign of reconciliation, so they immediately slip back into their old patterns. They start chasing again, over-texting again, proving themselves again. They forget everything they learned during the time apart. And within a few days, she senses that he hasn't grown at all. The same insecurity, the same need for validation, the same emotional dependence, it all reappears. That's when she disappears again, leaving him confused and hurt. But a man who has evolved responds differently. You don't rush, you don't cling, you don't get swept away by emotion. You stay grounded, you respect yourself, and you respect your time. When she texts, you answer calmly. When she asks questions, you respond without over-explaining. When she apologizes, you listen without trying to reassure her excessively. You show her that you've learned to live without her, and that her presence does not determine your self-worth. This shift in energy is what truly attracts her back. It's not your looks, it's not your words, it's not your promises, it's your emotional strength. When she senses that she can no longer emotionally manipulate or shake you, she becomes curious. When she realizes that you've become the man she always hoped, she becomes surprised. Her return becomes less of a test and more of a repetition. So when she comes back, remember this: her presence is not a gift not the goal. Her return is simply the universe giving you a chance to prove your growth. Whether you pass the test depends entirely on how well you hold your emotional center. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay focused on your purpose. If you've truly changed, she'll feel it instantly. If you haven't, she'll leave just as quickly as she came. One of the most important lessons Corey Wayne teaches is that a man's emotional world must be independent of a woman's actions, presence, or validation. When a woman returns after leaving, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that your happiness or sense of self should depend on her. This is exactly the scenario she is testing. She wants to see if your inner stability is still tied to her attention, approval, or affection, or if you have grown into a man who creates his own sense of worth. Emotional dependence is a subtle trap because it often disguises itself as love or care. You might convince yourself that wanting her back, being attentive, or proving yourself is simply expressing feelings, but in reality, these behaviors reveal a man whose emotional foundation still relies on someone else. The key is to recognize that your peace and your center must come from within. A man who has learned this lesson knows that no matter who walks into his life or leaves it, his calm, his confidence, and his clarity remain intact. Women are naturally drawn to this type of man because strength, consistency, and self-sufficiency are inherently attractive traits. When she returns, she will subconsciously test your emotional independence through her actions. She may flirt, challenge, provoke, or even attempt to guilt you. Her words and behavior are not meant to destabilize you maliciously. They are instinctual checks to see if you have truly grown. Your response, or lack thereof, signals whether you are still the same man who allowed your emotional world to be shaken by her or anyone else. Emotional independence doesn't mean you suppress your feelings or stop caring. It doesn't mean that you become cold, distant, or unresponsive. It simply means that your self-esteem, your happiness, and your decisions are not dictated by her presence. You can care deeply, desire deeply, and still remain unaffected in a way that keeps your composure intact. Corey Wayne emphasizes that men who create their own internal stability operate from abundance rather than scarcity. They understand that their life, purpose, and joy are not contingent upon being with someone. This allows them to navigate any test she throws at them with calm assurance. Many men fail at this stage because they confuse desire with neediness. Desire is healthy. It allows you to connect, to love, and to be motivated in a relationship. Neediness, on the other hand, reveals a man who has tied his emotional well-being to her responses. When she returns and senses even a hint of neediness, she may lose respect, seeing that the power she once held over you is still present. Conversely, when a man demonstrates that his happiness and stability exist independently of her, it flips the dynamic. Suddenly, the woman who returned is faced with a man she cannot control, a man whose inner world is untouched by her actions, and that is deeply magnetic. Maintaining emotional independence also means setting and enforcing personal boundaries. Corey Wayne teaches that a man's strength is measured by his ability to honor himself first. When she tests you, whether intentionally or unintentionally, it is your boundaries that demonstrate your emotional maturity. You do not bend to manipulate, guilt, or control from her. You respond thoughtfully and with clarity, showing that your inner life is self-contained. This is not arrogance. It is confidence rooted in self-respect. By consistently living in alignment with your values and not compromising your emotional stability for anyone, you reveal a level of masculinity that commands respect. Ultimately, when a woman comes back, the true test is never about her. It's about you. It's about whether you have created an emotional life that is unshakable, independent, and self-sustaining. If you have, she will sense it immediately, and her respect and attraction will increase naturally. If you have not, she will feel the insecurity and dependency and may leave again, proving the lesson she intended to test in the first place. Emotional independence is the foundation of all success in relationships, and it is the ultimate power you can demonstrate when a woman attempts to test you. By maintaining your center, you not only pass the test, but transform the dynamic into one where you lead and she follows, drawn to your unwavering strength. When a woman leaves, it is often because she senses a lack of boundaries, a lack of self-respect, or a lack of purpose in the man she's with. Corey Wayne emphasizes that walking away is one of the most powerful moves a man can make, not out of anger or spite, but out of self-respect and clarity. When you step away, you send a clear message. You will not chase, plead, or compromise your values for anyone. You are creating a life that centers around your growth, your goals, and your emotional stability. That decision alone transforms your energy, your confidence, and the way you carry yourself. Walking away is not a sign of weakness. It is a declaration of strength. It says that your worth is not determined by someone else's presence, and it sets the foundation for all future interactions, including the moment when she returned. Her return now presents a unique opportunity. When she walks back into your life, it is no longer about recapturing her or proving herself. It is about demonstrating the growth and transformation that have taken place while she was gone. Walking away previously created distance, and distance gives perspective, both for her and for you. During that time apart, she has had the chance to reflect, to notice the void, and to recognize what she lost. Meanwhile, you have had the chance to build strength, improve your life, and develop qualities she may have wished you had before. The return is her way of acknowledging that absence made her curious. But the real question now is whether you will allow her back on your terms or fall back. The crucial part of this message is how you handle the interaction. Corey Wayne repeatedly points out that the men who walk away they lose the very respect they fought to build through their absence. When she approaches you, it is your responsibility to maintain the frame that walking away established. You must not beg, plead, or compromise your self-respect. Instead, you interact from a place of calm confidence, curiosity, and control. Your behavior now demonstrates that your world is not centered around her return. Your world is already full, complete, and aligned with your purpose. She is coming back to see if you are still emotionally independent, or if you have returned to your previous state of neediness. The choice you make in this moment is everything. It is also vital to recognize that her return is not an automatic invitation for reconciliation. Corey Wayne teaches that attraction grows when a man operates from a position of strength, not desperation. By walking away before, you created a sense of absence, a sense of value, and a clear boundary. When she comes back, she is drawn to the man you have become, not the man she once left behind. Her test is essentially a mirror. She wants to know whether you are still the same man or whether your absence helped you become a man she respects, admires, and desires. The energy you project now, the calm, confident, and emotionally mature energy, is what determines whether she stays or leaves again. Another important aspect is clarity of purpose. During the time apart, you have likely invested in yourself, your health, your career, your passions, and your personal growth. Walking away is not passive, it is active self-improvement. When she returns, she is drawn to the new energy you have cultivated. Corey Wayne emphasizes that women are attracted to men who lead their lives decisively, who have goals and ambitions, and who operate from abundance rather than scarcity. By showing her that your life is thriving regardless of her presence, you reinforce your value in a way words cannot. Her curiosity turns into genuine attraction because she sees a man who has evolved and now has the power to choose, not the power to beg. Ultimately, walking away made you stronger, and her return gives you a chance to prove it. It is a test of whether you will maintain the boundaries, confidence, and emotional independence you developed in her absence. The choice is yours. Fall back into old habits and neediness, or demonstrate the growth, stability, and self-respect that define a man who operates from strength. When you hold your frame, act with calm confidence, and maintain your independence, you pass the test, and she sees a man worth her attention. Not because she controls him, but because he has mastered himself. The most powerful lesson Corey Wayne teaches about relationships is that true attraction and respect are rooted in choice, not neediness. When a woman comes back after leaving, the ultimate test is not whether you want her, it is whether you need her. Desire is natural, healthy, and a reflection of genuine attraction. Neediness, on the other hand, is a sign that a man's sense of self-worth is dependent on someone else's attention or validation. This is the difference between a man who is masculine and in control of his life and a man who is desperate, reactive, and emotionally unstable. Women instinctively sense this difference, and it fundamentally changes how they perceive a man. When she tests you by returning, she is evaluating whether you have learned this distinction and whether you can maintain it under pressure. Being a man who does not need a woman means that your emotional and psychological stability comes from within. You are not chasing to fill a void. Your life is already full. Your confidence, your purpose, your happiness, and your daily fulfillment are not contingent upon her responses or actions. Corey Wayne emphasizes that a man operating from this place of abundance naturally exudes attractiveness because he is not chasing approval or validation. When she returns, she is drawn to a man who is whole on his own, who does not require constant reassurance, and who maintains a calm, confident demeanor regardless of her behavior. This is the essence of masculine energy, and it is irresistible to women because it signals strength, maturity, and leadership. Many men fail this test because they confuse desire with neediness. When she reappears, they feel a rush of excitement or fear of loss, which triggers old patterns of chasing, over-texting, or overextending. These behaviors immediately signal the attraction she might have felt initially diminished as the power dynamic shifted back to her favor. Women do not respect men who are easily swayed or manipulated by emotions. The power lies in maintaining your boundaries and your composure, regardless of how strongly you feel or how tempting her return may seem. When you do this, you show her that you are a man who acts from choice, not from fear, and that is what rekindles respect and genuine attraction. Another aspect of this principle is clarity in decision making. When she comes back, a man who has learned this lesson evaluates the situation carefully. He considers whether her actions align with his values, whether her intentions are genuine, and whether a renewed connection would contribute positively to his life. He does not rush to take her back simply because he wants her or because he fears losing her. Corey Wayne stresses that a man who can choose without emotional dependency communicates strength without arrogance. He operates from a perspective of abundance, knowing that he has the power to decide freely rather than being compelled by lack or need. This clarity transforms the dynamic from one of desperation to one of mutual respect. Maintaining this mindset requires consistent self-mastery. It is not enough to think you are independent. Your behavior must reflect it. How you respond to her messages how you interact in conversation, and how you manage your emotions all communicate your level of self-sufficiency. When a man demonstrates that he is not dependent on her presence, he automatically becomes more attractive. Women are wired to respect men who lead their own lives, who have boundaries, and who can remain calm under emotional pressure. Her test is whether you have internalized these qualities or whether you have slipped back into old patterns. Ultimately, the real power in her return lies in your ability to choose. You may desire her, and that is natural, but you must never need her. A man who understands this distinction controls the dynamic. He decides if and when he will allow her back into his life based on values, respect, and mutual compatibility rather than fear or longing. Corey Wayne's teaching is clear. A man who does not need a woman is the man women cannot resist. Her return is a test, and your response defines whether you have become the man she truly respects. A man who operates from strength, confidence, and self-mastery.